Hi there! How are you guys? I realized just now that I hadn't pushed play and I had recorded, so I thought. So welcome to Wednesday Noon Prayer. My name is Jackie and I am the Missions Ministry Assistant here at Timberline Church. And we're just so excited to have you join us today for Wednesday Noon Prayer. I think especially today being an election, post-election day, and just everything that's going on in our country, I know tensions are really high. And so it's really just caused me to take a pause and kind of consider what this year has meant to me, what the Lord is speaking to me this year. And it's been kind of a roller coaster in that journey, I would say, that sometimes it's really easy for me to think this year was a waste and that 2020 really didn't hold any real personal growth, or that it was just hard. But as I've given that back to the Lord, I've really taken time to reflect on what He is saying is happening this year. And I think that that's really helped me kind of change my perspective. So I'm just going to kind of share 3 things with you that I've had as revelations in this time. I feel like fall and winter often is a time of reflection for me as I consider what's happened in the year. And these 3 things that have come to mind, I just hope that they strike a chord with you. I think 2020 has been really great for just the church coming together and realizing that, you know, a lot of the same things that I'm walking through, each one of you are walking through too. And so I think that there's great community in just sharing those with each other. So the first is the Lord's really been working on me in terms of my control. And I'm sure that some of you can relate to that. I think control for me has just really been challenging. And in a year where I think we feel like our control is really stripped away from us and we don't have, you know, the plan, we can't do the plans that we had made, or we can't visit the people that we had hoped to visit, or really just everything. That we sometimes, I think, tend to want to try and pick back up that control, and it sometimes can get worse. And so the Lord's really challenged me of who do I place my trust in, and who do I lean into when I'm trying to be controlling about things that are going on in my life. And so I know that's such a simple thing, but I think just a great reminder that God has never been worried about this year, and He knows the outcome of the election and COVID and all these things. And so it helps me really kind of relax and lean into Him, knowing that I can trust Him because He is the King of Kings, and His position and His title has never changed. And I think the second thing has been that I tend to, I want a lot on my plate. And I think sometimes I do that because I don't like to look at my internal self and kind of think through areas that I could be growing in, or ways that God is trying to sharpen me. And so I think that I put a lot of stuff on my plate so that I'm really busy, I'm running around, always doing things. And I feel like God has shown me this year that His focus is actually pretty narrow. His focus is that His people love Him, and that we're out loving our neighbor and making disciples. And so I feel like in the season of being reminded of that type of focus, it's helped me just be more open to the Spirit leading me to go talk to somebody I haven't talked to in a long time, or take a meal to a neighbor because, I haven't seen them in 6 months because of quarantine, or whatever that might look like. And I feel like it's been refreshing for my soul to remove all these things off of my plate and recognize that God is doing big things in relationships this year. And I think He's honing us in, having us focus on relationships. And so that's been a really, I think, special thing for me to recognize this year. And the last thing is just that I've been reading a lot about just what is the kingdom of God and what is our role in the kingdom of God. And I think that each one of us has a really specific role in the kingdom, and none of us are exempt from that. So we all have part. We're all part of the Great Commission, all part of the calling to go and make disciples of all nations. And working in missions, that's something we focus on a lot, of course. But I've just recognized that not anybody's calling is greater or lesser. We all have such an important role to play in the kingdom and reaching people. And so I think this year I really walked into quarantine and COVID season being really close-fisted in how I was holding this year and how I was just angry about things that I couldn't do or things that I hoped to do. And just recognized that when I'm open-handed, that I have great adventures with the Lord. The Lord's plan is so much more exciting, so much more full of adventure and mystery and all the things that I think if I was just walking in under my own control and in my own way that I would miss out on. And so I think it's been a time of kind of realizing that relationship with God is fun and it's joyful and it's adventurous. And I don't know if that speaks to you, but that speaks to my personality a lot because I like to have fun and like to go on adventures. And so these are just a couple things that the Lord's really been speaking to me this year and helping me recognize and focus on this year of 2020. And so I just want to send you out today in just prayer. And there's 3 things that I have here that I'm just going to share with you to pray about, but feel free to pray about whatever God puts on your heart today. I know today can feel heavy with election and all that's going on in our nation. So the first point is just to recognize and proclaim that Christ is King. And I think of the song, All Hail King Jesus, and my favorite version is by Upper Room. And that's so true, especially in a season where, right now, election season, where it's just felt like who's going to be in control, who's in power. It's just really wonderful to remember that Christ is King and that will never change. That maybe you haven't thought of in a while, but continue to pray for that today. And then the last thing is I just encourage you, as I keep telling myself, to really approach the Lord open-handed in asking what our role is in the kingdom. And I think when we do that, he's going to tell us some things that are really exciting and fun, but just also how our role in the kingdom is part of his greater purpose and how it's going to impact the world. And this weekend is Missions Focus Weekend, if you didn't know, here at Timberline. So we're going to be talking about how Timberline has impacted locally, nationally, and globally a bunch of different missionaries, locations, ministries, and we're really excited to share those wins with you. But we're also going to be focusing on unreached people groups and just what is our role, why should we care about those as Timberliners, as God's kids, and what is our role in continuing to reach the unreached. So I really hope you'll join us, and I hope you have a great time of prayer. Have a great day.